Thanks for joining us tonight. There are conflicting reports between a small-town sheriff's department and the private investigator working on a case that we've been following as part of our Missing series here on News Nation Prime. 21-year-old Jason Landry was a student at Texas State University when he disappeared on his way home for the holidays in December of last year. Jason's car had crashed on a gravel country road 30 minutes from his school. The key was still in the ignition and the headlights were still on, but there was no sign of Jason. And while the sheriff's department has assumed Jason was alone at the time of the crash, the private investigator wants to know if, in fact, that's true, saying modern-day technology can detect whether or not someone else was inside the car or if there was anyone around who might have witnessed what happened to Jason. Abel Pina is a former FBI agent who is working on this case pro bono, along with his team at his nonprofit called Project Absentis. Abel, appreciate your time tonight. Let's start with kind of a differing of opinions as to what may have happened. The sheriff's department believes that Jason overcorrected on the road, hit a tree, left his vehicle, then took his clothes off, and then disappeared. You have a different theory. What do you think happened?
Yeah, Marty, thank you for having me on. We've conducted numerous interviews. We've received a lot of tips. We have an analyst that has a kind of a better understanding of what could have happened to Jason. We've got a lot of tips. We've put it all together. We're hopeful that as we continue to interview more and more people, that we will actually come to know what happened to Jason. At this point, I think it would be a little premature to comment any further about what we believe happened. I will say that we do not believe that he was alone. We believe that there could have been a second or third party involved. I think something like what we call a tower dump would be extremely beneficial. And what that essentially is it provides a trove of information about the cell phones active in that particular area. That's where the mobile towers are at. That's where they're located. That information can be used to identify, a given individual that was out there, perhaps witnesses, the exact time. And it's a technique used to help solve crimes and establishes the location of the suspects and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Abel, I know that you had met with the detectives working this case. You'd asked for this tower dump. Have they been receptive to that request? What's the status?
Well, we met with the DA and the Sheriff's Department, the Caldwell County Sheriff's Department. We didn't get too far. There has to be a crime. At least there has to be, at least they have to articulate in the search warrant that there is a crime. If there's no crime, then they're not going to support a tower dump. We believe with all the circumstantial evidence that we've collected in the course of almost a year that we've been involved in this, that there is a lot of circumstantial evidence that we can put together in the hopes of putting together a search warrant, an affidavit for the tower dump.
I understand you conducted another search this week. Can you reveal to us if that led you to any more clues that you didn't have before?
We were out there earlier this week conducting a search. We had a dog as well as a drone. It led to additional information. It was negative in the sense that we didn't get any evidentiary of value out there. There was nothing of evidence that we collected. Again, it's just another area that we went out there to take a look at and just to vet it out to make sure that he was not there.
Mm-hmm. I had spoken with Jason's dad in one of our previous stories as we've covered this case, and it concerned him that there weren't more police officers, authorities out there initially after Jason's car was discovered. I've been reading some of your comments as well, critical of the investigation early on. What more do you think could have been done in those early hours and early weeks of this disappearance?
Well, I think the trooper who arrived on the scene could have done a better job. I think the evidence that was collected, the little evidence that he collected, is really unacceptable. To have a father go back out there that following morning It's heart-wrenching that he's out there by himself collecting all the clothes. And that should have been something that law enforcement should have collected. The vehicle itself was something that should have been preserved. They should have collected, there's exterior as well as interior evidence that could have been collected. They could have combed for hairs and fibers. They could have probably done a better job. However, we were told that the troopers, GPS, I believe, along with the Texas Rangers, did process a vehicle. I don't have any information as to how in depth they did that, but there are ways to preserve a vehicle. And the way they did it by just having it towed that way that night was unacceptable. It should have gotten preserved. There should have been evidence tape around there, and nobody should have tampered with that vehicle. There's plenty of evidence. They could have collected DNA, hairs and fibers, obviously fingerprints, any kind of blood. That vehicle is no longer, it's still sitting out there at a car lot. It's no longer available to be processed at all.
Abel, you have said that the next 30 days are critical. You're optimistic you're going to get some answers. What makes you so confident you'll be able to crack this case?
Well, we have a lot of people that we've talked to. We feel very confident that in the course of the next 30 days that we're going to be coming to at least an idea that at least to find out what happened to him. I think we're fairly close. I think we're narrowing down the list of people that we need to talk to. We have plenty of work to do ahead. We have a number of other witnesses or people we want to talk to. We received, again, a number of tips on our anonymous tip line, and we're just continuing to just vet these tips out and hopefully, be done fairly soon.
Every piece of information is important. Abel Pena, we appreciate your time on this case, and thanks for giving us some of your insight tonight.
Thank you, Marnie.
And if you have any information on this case, you can send it to the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office or the private tip line. Where is Jason Landry? Do you know anything that can help? Both of those numbers are listed on your screen. Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.